हाँ चलेगा, इधर ही तो थी। हाँ हाँ, यस, मेरा टिश्यू पेपर। Okay, I'm going to start. Okay, we'll start with our prayers and okay. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shruti Smriti Purananam
Smriti Purananam
Alayam Karunalayam.
Alayam Karunalayam.
और भी बड़ा करती हूँ। नमामि भगवत्पादं
Namami Bhagavad-padam
शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं
Shankaram Lokashankaram
शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं
Shankaram Shankaracharyam
केशवं बादरायणं
Keshavam Badarayanam
सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे
Sutrabhashakritau Vande
भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः
Bhagavantau Punah Punaha
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
Sadashiva-samarambha
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
Shankaracharya-madhyamam
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
Asmadacharya-paryantam
वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्
Vande Guru-paramparam
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति
Ishvaro Guru-ratmeti
मूर्तिभेदविभागिने
Murti-bheda-vibhagine
व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय
Vyoma-vadyapta-dehaya
दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
ओम श्री दयानंदेश्वराय नमः।
Om Shri Dayanandeshwaraya Namaha.
Now this, I've been able to, I found a PDF file with straight, so we don't have to keep turning our pages. Shri Harim Paramanandam
Shri Harim Paramanandam
Upadeshtaramishwaram
Upadeshtaramishwaram
Vyapakam Sarvalokanam
Vyapakam Sarvalokanam
Karanam Tam Namamyaham.
Karanam Tam Namamaham.
Make it bigger still. Okay.
So it's quite big.
Oops, अभी और कहीं चली गई हूँ। अपरोक्षानुभूतिर्वै
Aparokshanubhuti
प्रोच्यते मोक्षसिद्धये
Prochate Moksha-siddhaye
सद्भिरेषां प्रयत्नेन
Sadviresha prayatnena
वीक्षणीया मुहुर्मुहुः
Vikshaniya murmuhu
स्ववर्णाश्रमधर्मेण
Svarnashram dharmena
okay swavarnashrama the ashrama, so the ma is complete. Swavarnashrama dharmena
Svarnashram dharmena
tapasa haritoshanat
Tapasa haritoshanat
sadhanam prabhavet pumsam
Sadhanam prabhavet pumsam
vairagyadi chatuštayam
Vairagyadi chatuštayam
brahmadi stavaranteshu
Brahmadi sthavaranteshu
Vairagyam Vishayeshvanu.
Vairagyam Visheshvano
Yathaiva Kakavishtāyam
Yathaiva Kakavishthayam
Vairagyam Tadhi Nirmalam.
Vairagyam Tadhi Nirmalam.
Okay. Okay. So this time I have not done any work at all on summarizing, etc. So if there is, maybe Bhati uncle को पकड़ेंगे कि भाटी अंकल ये ब्रह्मादि स्थावरांतेषु वैराग्यम विषयेष्वनु यथैव काकविष्टायम वैराग्यम तद्धि निर्मलम. So just whatever is written in the text, आप उसको बस summarize कर दो till what we did.
ये श्लोक बताता है कि जगत की सब चीजें ब्रह्मा जी से लेकर छोटी से छोटी तिनके भी सब जगत के काम हैं, जगत की मिथ्या चीजें हैं.
हाँ, ठीक है.
इनसे वैराग्य रखना, इनसे राग नहीं करना, इनसे राग नहीं करना.
और last time you remember हम लोग we were looking at one slide and I shared it with you all. I have not even brought my phone with me. I shared it with you all, showing you some of the reasons, what are the problems with looking upon the world as the, or anything external, which includes this body, as an object of happiness. Then some problems are there with that. One of them we saw was bandhakatva, that it will make you lead you to bondage. Then any other, even if you can just give the headings.
No, this verse is 4 you are talking.
Verse 4, yeah.
Yeah, verse 4, yes.
क्योंकि वो पिछली बार बात हुई थी, क्योंकि वो in all the things are after all आत्मा, और आत्मा सेपरेट भी लिखी हुई है स्वामी जी ने. जहां ब्रह्मा लिखा है, ब्रह्मा से लेके तिनके तक, उसमें आत्मा भी है. तो आत्मा दो डबल कैसे हो गई? ये प्रॉब्लम हुई थी पिछले, ये प्रॉब्लम हुई थी लास्ट टाइम. वी हैड दिस प्रॉब्लम कि डबल आत्मा के साथ कैसे वैराग्य कर सकते हैं.
Oh, Swamiji has said that we will ignore that. That is not what I'm looking at. You remember last time we had looked at some, briefly we had looked at some of the points which show us that why is this Vairagya, why this fascination for objects is a problem, or what is the logic which will help us to understand that pursuit of external happiness, pursuit of happiness from external sources is not okay. One, of course, is it leads to bondage.
That's right.
Then it does not give full satisfaction, because 4 into 7 satisfaction we will not get. Yes, uncles.
No, Swamiji has very clearly said that what you want is, all of us, we are looking for happiness, but we want that happiness, unconditional happiness.
Yeah.
So whatever vastus we are seeing in the world, they are all anything except me. I am the drishta. Rest everything is an object. Everything. All the things in the world, they are objects to us. And those objects can never give us happiness because they are limited. What I want is nitya all the time.
Why are the objects limited?
Because you see, because it is there for temporarily. If I purchase a car, if I got married, if I got a good house, whatever it is in the world, everything is limited. That is even if you go to Brahmalok, that is limited. You have to come back to see after spending whatever time you go. So what Swamiji has said here, that you should be, it is Vairagya is listed first. Why? Because Vairagya means that you should not have aversion, you should not have attachment, you should have love, but then you should not only totally depend upon that. If you are freedom, if you have got a freedom from all these people bondage, that is Vairagya accordingly. That is why he has put it number one and Vivek thereafter.
Yeah. That, of course, that we will leave that aside. So one point is this the happiness that we get from objects is anitya, is impermanent. Okay, it is anitya and it cannot give you full satisfaction, because what we want is 24/7 satisfaction, but that no object is capable of giving, because all of them are subject to time, right? So they are limited in that sense, and they cannot give us that kind of satisfaction that we are looking for, which is nitya satisfaction.
Yeah,
Correct? That is what you have said.
Moreover, Swamiji said that whatever object you are seeing, they are all inert, except that particular, that I am the drishta. Except me, everything is inert.
Exactly.
Only that I am the only Chetan. So I am only that Satyam Jnanam Anantam. I am everything. So I have to look for myself only, and that means I should look for Om. I should look for Bhagavan.
See, one thing which Shastra says is, there we are making an assumption that what Shastra is saying is true. Shastra is saying that you are Purna, right? So, if you are already Purna, when you are already full, you are already of the nature of Ananda, how can anything else give you the Ananda that you already are? So, no, it is Jada, number one. It is therefore incapable of giving you Ananda. Number two, okay, it is incapable of giving you Ananda because you already are Ananda. When you already are Ananda, how can it give you Ananda iti? Therefore, Shastra gives us a understanding of why we experience Ananda, and we think it is from object. So Shastra points out, okay, which we saw last time. Shastra is pointing out that we have got lot of what do we say, binding desire in our heart, meaning we think that that object is going to give me happiness. And when we think like that, the object is going to give me happiness, then what happens? Mind gets very agitated. Then when mind is agitated, we are not able to feel the ananda at all. But when we now, because, and what is the thinking in the mind? That thing is going to give me ananda. So I make effort to get that ananda, to get that object, so that I can get ananda. For example, gulab jamun. Okay, so I go to the shop and I buy the ingredients to make my gulab jamun. And as I'm making the gulab jamun, some ananda is coming because I'm already thinking I'm going to get the ananda. Then when I put that gulab jamun in my mouth and I'm tasting the ananda, I'm tasting the gulab jamun, I feel ananda. But Shastra points out that that is not because gulab jamun has got ananda in it. Object does not have ananda in it. It is because mind became quiet. The agitation in the mind became quiet. And when the agitation in the mind became quiet, I am experiencing this ananda vritti, which is a reflection of the ananda that I am. I am getting in some ananda. It is not there in Swamiji's book at this point, at what we have done. It is in the notes that I was giving you and which I put also in the chat. In our WhatsApp group, I have put the notes there.
Yes,
So that was a point, which is a Vedanta, which in every text we will talk about this. See? So already I am Ananda, but then when I experience Ananda, when I get an object, that Ananda, I mistakenly attribute it to the object. Actually, it is my own Ananda. Okay, this Ananda is coming from me, but I think it is coming from object. And then there is lot of logic to show you that Ananda cannot exist in the object. What is that logic which is being used? Logic being used is if Ananda was in the object, If it belonged to the object, then it should be giving us ananda whenever we experience the object. No? But that doesn't happen. For example, I had given the same example last time. I love ice cream and I want to eat that ice cream. I'm going to eat it, that time phone call comes. And phone call comes what? That my Guruji is very sick. If I get that information, my Guruji I love like anything. And when I get this information, my Guruji is sick, I cannot eat that ice cream. It feels, or even if I eat it, it will taste like straw in my mouth. But if Ananda was in the ice cream actually, then it should have given me happiness. Not only it should give me happiness, it should give happiness to everybody. But not everybody not everybody gets Ananda from ice cream. Some people are there who don't like sweets at all. They like only chili things. So they don't get happiness from ice cream. So Ananda does not exist in the object. It's a very important point in Vedanta. Okay. Then Vedanta will point out, okay, number one is, of course, it doesn't give you happiness all the time. And number two is that it should give everybody happiness, but it does not give everybody happiness. Therefore, we prove that Ananda does not reside in the object. Okay. So Ananda is not present in object. Where is Ananda then?
Within ourselves.
Myself.
Ananda is me. We can't even say within ourselves, because when we say within ourselves, we are identifying with the body and saying within ourselves, right? So actually what Vedanta points out is Ananda, Swarupa Ananda is me. Swarupa Ananda means by nature. By nature, the self is Ananda. Iti, I am that Ananda. Therefore, this needs to be understood extremely well. Only then really Vairagya and all, comes. We really need to assimilate this point very well. Okay. Later on, I will give some, practice, Vairagya practice. Okay. Then where did we read up till?
We are at page 56.
At page 56.
Second para.
Second para.
The limitless alone can be
The
happy.
limitless, yes.
Alone can be happiness. Yeah. Correct. So the points we had, I've written it in small here. That is good. So bandhakatvam, atriptikaratvam, anityatvam, alpatvam. Okay. Savishesha. Conditional happiness only we can get in the world and not intrinsic to the object. Okay, we have covered all those points. Now the limitless alone can be happiness. I will read that part because lot of Sanskrit is there. Chandogya Upanishad says, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham, na alpe sukham asti. The infinite alone can be happiness. Anything that is limited cannot be happiness. Bhuma means that which is infinite. Okay. Yo vai bhuma, that which is bhuma, that which is infinite, tat sukham. That alone is happiness. Na alpe sukham asti. But anything which is limited, it cannot be happiness. Then Swamiji writes, every attachment has to be scrutinized in the light of this understanding. Of course, the assumption is that we have Shraddha and Shastra. We need to recognize that we have simply taken for granted that such and such is important to me or gives me happiness. When we really examine things, there is disillusionment. Then I become free from this attachment, this dependence and fascination, which were false to begin with. Why was it false? Bhagya. Why is it false?
What is the question, Gurumaji?
The question is, in the light of what this paragraph, okay, Swamiji says that our dependence is false. Why is it false?
No, as we have discussed just now, that objective, we should see the object, we should objectify. We should not do adhyarasa on the adhyaropan on the object. but we
No,
are doing.
I don't. When we say we should, okay, then it makes it something that we should be doing. I'm asking why.
Why? Because we are overrating it. No? We are giving more value to the object which it has got, and
Which it does not have.
It does
Doesn't
not
have any. What's
I
pointing
have,
out is it doesn't have any value.
when I have a gold ring which is only 10 gram, it costs these days about 80,000 rupees. But you say it is engagement ring, it costs 5 crore. So it is meaningless. So you are giving so much value to the object which it does not carry. And that
Does
same
not
thing,
carry. That's the important thing.
that same thing happened with all the objects with us.
Yeah. So you're giving a value to the object which it does not have.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, it is false. Therefore, if we depend upon an object, then that is false. Yeah, these are all big lines of Vedanta, or Gangor Vedanta. Viveka is the primary thing that Vedanta teaches. We examine what is the source of happiness and find that the self is the source of happiness. There cannot be happiness in the non-self. Okay? Here we, of course, take for granted that we have understood self is Satchidananda, non-self is, okay, Anatma, non-self is that which is object of my knowledge, object of my experience, and that which is an object of my experience is what I call as non-self. It cannot be the source of happiness. Why it cannot be the source of happiness? We already saw. All non-self is inert, and inert cannot be the source of happiness. Just one sec. हाँ मेरे फोन दे दो यार, देखना क्या है. Just one sec. Kalpana, I'm in the middle of class. I will call you back later. Yeah? Okay, bye. Let me put my phone on silent. Okay. So we already saw anything which is anatma is inert. Do you mean to say that all the people I know are inert?
Your view is absurd.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No.
So we are saying non-self, okay? That means all the people I know are inert. You are calling everybody jada or what? So the people I know, what are they? They are body, okay? They are mind. Body and mind both are inert. The only thing which is consciousness in them is consciousness. That is all. So if we are saying that that person, meaning the body mind, that body mind Vedanta looks upon as inert. Okay? And inert cannot give me happiness. We already saw that logic. Inert cannot give me happiness. Inert is incapable of giving me happiness because happiness resides in conscious being. Iti. And then even further than that, more Gangor than that is that conscious being is Purna. Vedanta says conscious being is Purna. Iti. Meaning I am already that Ananda. Iti. Therefore, non-self cannot give me happiness. Iti. Okay, all Gangor Vedanta. Iti. There cannot be happiness in the non-self. Consciousness is the source of happiness. There cannot be happiness in what is inert or unconscious or insentient. The limitless, that means Brahman, which means Bhuma, which means consciousness, is the source of happiness. There cannot be happiness in anything that is limited. Bhuma means infinite. He is coming back to that verse in the beginning of the paragraph. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. So bhuma means infinite. That which is in bhuma means infinite. So only that which is infinite can be happiness. Now this again is a very interesting thing. Only that which is without any limit can be happiness. Because if there is a limit, then how can it be happiness? If there is any kind of limit to something, then there cannot be happiness in it. Because what are we intrinsically seeking? we are seeking limitless happiness, right? So if anything is limited, then that limitation itself becomes the source of dukkha, because what we hate is limitation. Anything, if the body gets an illness, we don't like it. No, that is the limitation of the body. We don't like that limitation. If the mind gets a limitation, for example, I have very poor memory nowadays, I don't like it, right? So I keep saying, oh, I forget everything. I can't remember anything. I don't remember verses. I don't remember anything. I don't like it, because that limitation of the mind, I cannot bear. I don't like. Now, if I identify with that limitation, then what is there for me? Dukkha, right? So we have dukkha when we identify with that which is limited, iti. So he says, only that which is infinite, which doesn't have any limit in it, can be happiness. It's very all pakka, fat, Swamiji, without any, logic. These are statements being made, assuming that we already have the logic in our head. We have come to our own understanding based upon our experience and discover the truth of the state. So we have to come to our own understanding and discover the truth of what Shastra is saying. That yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti iti. It is not simply that the Upanishad says it and therefore we accept it. That doesn't work. One's own mind should say, yes, I understand. I do not just stop at experiencing the world. I examine my experience. One experience alone may not be enough. We may have to examine a number of experiences that we have had. Bhatia uncle?
Examining one's experiences brings Vairagya.
Mm.
The Upanishad says, Parikshya lokan karam chitan brahmano nirvedam ayat. When we examine the lokas, objects and experiences in the light of the truth that Vedanta reveals, we realize that there is nothing that we can gain from them. They cannot give us what we are seeking. Nasti akritha kriten. What we are seeking is akarta, not
Akrita,
something that
not
is
akarta, akrita.
akrita. Akrita. Not something that is achieved through action. It is nitya, permanent, limitless. Everything we experience is limited, so it cannot give us what we are seeking. This understanding is called Vairagya and naturally enables us to let go of all the fascinations or attachments that were taken for granted, conclusions that were not subject to scrutiny. As Adi Shri Shankaracharyas says, avichara siddhi siddha, avichara siddha, samsara. Samsara is nothing but result of lack of vichara.
What a big statement, no? Samsara is lack of vichara. So he's saying avichara siddha samsara. He defined samsara, avichara siddha. It is because of lack of proper analysis, lack of discrimination, lack of recognizing what is nitya and what is anitya. Iti. Lack of recognizing that whatever we are experiencing is anitya. Iti. And because by the very fact that it is anitya, it is incapable of giving us what we are seeking, which is nitya. Iti. Then, Auntie, not Anita.
Examining the sources of happiness. Vairagya is essentially subjecting all the so-called sources of happiness to scrutiny. Brahma Adi Sthavara Anteshu. Brahma Adi Sthavara Anteshu. Beginning with Brahma Loka itself and down to a Sthavara. Blade of grass. Blade of grass. In the Vedic scriptures, there are 7 higher lokas or heavens Each one offers a subtler and greater level of happiness. The 7 higher levels are Bhu, Bhua, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, and Satya. The last one, Satya Loka or Brahma Loka, is the highest possible level of experiential happiness. It is not an ordinary thing. What we enjoy here on earth is nothing compared to that. But still, it is happiness coming from an experience. We call it
samsparsha ja sukha.
Ja sukha. Happiness born of sparsha, association with something. In other words, it is happiness with a cause.
So Vedanta, beautiful, this Swamiji's such pakka Vedanta is going on here, no? So very, very beautiful. He says even the lokas, in many, many different lokas, you get very, very subtle grades of happiness, very, very subtle grades of happiness. But there is a big but. But remember, every one of those grades of experience of happiness is an experienced happiness. Means it's something that you are experiencing. It's something that you are experiencing. It is something experienced by you. Iti. And they see, still it is happiness coming from an experience. This kind of happiness which is coming from an experience means it is coming because of association with something. No? Like supposing I'm talking with friends. In association with my friends, there is a happiness. There is a feeling of oneness. These are my people. Unke saath I'm feeling a certain level of comfort, a certain level of support, whatever feelings are there. But again, it is coming because of that association with them. I am feeling that happiness. Iti. So therefore, it is called samsparsha ja bhoga. Association with something. In other words, it is happiness because of a cause. Happiness with a cause. There is something to cause that happiness. Okay? Then continue.
Vedanta says that only uncaused happiness can be limitless. Happiness gained due to a reason or a cause will go away when the cause goes away. Then one is again left with a vacuum and pain. Even the happiness that we experience in Brahmaloka, which is no doubt the most exalted happiness coming from the most exalted objects, is only naimittika sukha. Naimittika sukha. Happiness with a cause. What we are really seeking is
nirnimitta sukha.
Nirnimitta sukha. Happiness without any cause. One is happy because one can't be unhappy.
Wow.
This is possible only for a wise person. As Lord Krishna defines it, Atmani ev Atmana tushtaha.
Atmani eva. Okay, not
Atmani
ev.
No, ev.
Eva.
Eva. Atmani eva
Atmana tushtaha.
The wise person is happy with himself, by himself. Pujya Swamiji would say that if you ask him, why are you happy? He will simply answer, because I am happy.
Yeah.
There is no cause.
And that which comes will go. But that which does not come will not go. With things that come and go, the intensity of the pain from separation is as great as the pleasure from association. What we want is happiness that is independent of association and disassociation. Again, this is for the wise person.
Yes. Yaha sarvatra anabhisnehaha tattat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandanti nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Okay. And you can read the meaning at footnote number 45.
Yeah. The one who is unattached in all these situations, who neither rejoices on gaining the pleasant nor hates the unpleasant. His knowledge is well established. ये भगवत गीता का 57 श्लोक
Now you can finish that. Whatever comes.
Whatever comes, pleasant or unpleasant, he abides in himself. That is happiness coming from the self. And that is the only true source of happiness.
Happiness. Okay, very beautiful.
अपने अंदर ही है.
Now, Soni uncle can read the next portion. Any questions in this? This portion which we read just now, any questions? Or any opinions or any, anything you would like to express about it? ये काफी टफ है, कैसा हो सकता है?
But that's very true ना कि हम लोग का अंदर ही सोर्स है हैप्पीनेस का, हम कहाँ ढूंढ रहे हैं बाहर इधर उधर.
हाँ.
पर अपने अंदर पता नहीं ना कहाँ है.
नहीं है.
नहीं, हम लोग नहीं बोल रहे कि हमारे अंदर है. मैंने पहले भी बताया, हम नहीं बोलेंगे हमारे अंदर है, हम बोलेंगे हम है. हम है वो आनंदा.
हम है.
अंदर हो, समझो मैंने बोला कि मेरे अंदर है, ठीक है. उसका मतलब हुआ कि मैंने अपने आप को माना कि मैं ये बॉडी हूँ, या मैंने माना कि मैं ये मन हूँ, और फिर वो मन के अंदर है या बॉडी के अंदर है ना. पर जब हम बोल रहे हैं या ना हम मन है ना हम बॉडी है, तो अंदर की सवाल नहीं आती है. आई एम
अंदर का शायद डॉक्टर साहब का मतलब था कि इस कोशा के बियॉन्ड.
आनंद
बियॉन्ड द 5 पंच कोशा के बियॉन्ड जो है ना, दैट आवर Sanbhai Kosh and then
Kosha is only error.
That is there.
Kosha is the meaning of kosha there is only error.
So that way
it is an error that you make. In different levels of your personality. Pujya Swamiji used to explain kosha like that, very beautiful explanation. He would say that we have different layers of the personality, like body, prana, then the emotional world, the intellectual world. So at each level we make an error and we say, I am body. That saying that I am body is the kosha because it hides. What does it hide? It hides that you are Satchidananda. Then you say, I am prana. I am all the vital functions in the body. That very saying that I am prana becomes the kosha. It becomes like a sheath. It hides. What does it hide? It hides the fact that you are Satchidananda. The minute you think this way, that very thinking is hiding your very nature. So he used to do this kosha very beautifully, Swamiji's section on kosha. Okay, now it is Soni uncle's turn.
To enjoy the self, the mind must be focused on the self. To tap into the happiness that is myself. However, it is important that my mind should become free from attachment or fascination from things that are not myself. Making my mind inward looking is therefore very important. To enjoy the happiness of the self, the mind must be focused on the self. When the mind has a value for other things, it is focused there. Bahir Muktatva, extrovertness, outwardly. In the primary obstacles in experience the happiness of the self. Extrovertedness is the result of raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion, which are in turn the result of superimposition, happiness or unhappiness upon something else.
Yeah. Here, I have a small thing here, making my mind inward looking. So, inward looking means where are we going to look now?
No, we should not be extroverted. We should not.
That's all it means. Okay?
We should not go.
This inward looking can be a bit of a problem sometimes, because we will say inward looking means, we are inward looking now. Eh?
That only
One very
is-
big point of Vedanta is the self is not an object. So, we cannot objectify the self. Self is not an object. We can never objectify the self. Therefore, when we say that, okay, now I'm going to be inward looking and I'm going to be looking for the self, it is only when that process of looking for the self stops, that you recognize you are the self. Otherwise, that very process of looking for the self keeps you from self. Because self is not an object, you are that self. Self is not anywhere else. Self is not it's just such an important thing, to recognize this fact. Self is not an object. So that very process of hunting for self, we become a doonder. Now we are doonding self. Yeah. So Shastra will bring you to a point where you will stop doonding. And you will say, oh my God, how did I miss this? I can't doondi myself because I am the self. What am I going to doondo? Iti. By then there will be enough Shastra to recognize, okay, that the self is Ananda. Self is limitless. So when the self is not body, self is not mind, iti. And then at that point, the doonding for self will stop. Iti. Because as long as you try to objectify self, you have missed the self. Iti. It's only when you finally recognize, oh my God, I am that self. Which self? The limitless self. Iti. So all this is you take with a pinch of salt. The only point of this paragraph is, let the mind be that which is not bahirmukha. Okay, that which is not extroverted. So that we have a value for letting go of attachment or letting go of dependence. Attachments is what? Dependence. Letting go of our emotional dependence on different things, whether it is ice cream or anything else. Yeah, look at that, which extrovertedness is the result is the result of ragadvesha, and ragadvesha are in turn the result of superimposing happiness or unhappiness upon something else. And why do we have ragadvesha? Because there is avidya. Either because there is avidya or because there is habitual error. Habitual by samskara. There are deep samskaras, and therefore because of that we do this superimposition. Sometimes avidya may not be there, but very deep samskaras may be there. Now examining the experience of happiness. Sarojanti, you may read this, but I am still making you, for our reading, happiness. जहां फुल स्टॉप है आप उधर पॉज करेगी.
ओके
इतनी जल्दी में नहीं होगी कि आपको दूसरे सेंटेंस में फटाफट जाना है.
अच्छा,
फुल स्टॉप है तो उधर पॉज करना. दैट gives a lot of meaning, when we are listening.
Examining the experience of happiness. Both happiness and unhappiness are projected or superimposed. They are not nature of anything. Nothing can be said to be a source of happiness, unhappiness, because there is no consistency. What is the source of happiness for me is hated by somebody else, and vice versa. Recognition bring about the healthy relationship with people, objects, and situation. Vairagyam Vishveshu, dispassion with regard of object, is not aversion or hatefulness. It is a healthy relationship. Dislike or disinterest is not a vairagya. It is tamas. Vairagya is due to sattva, not tamas. Point is not to lose interest, but to discover the truth. First discover the truth of so-called happiness, and then discover the truth of the self. Discovering the nature of the non-self enabled my mind to become inwardly focused so that I can then discover the truth of myself. All these qualifications we have been discussing are basically meant to make the mind inward looking, focused upon the self. Each attachment must be examined and taken care of because there is no basis for my belief that something gives me happiness.
Yeah.
Such an happiness will enable my mind to become free of that false fascination. This is also include the fascination for Brahmalok, because that is also a nimitika sukh, happiness for a reason, and do not want that. I want happiness without a reason, without conditions. That alone can be called moksha.
Very beautiful, no? So we have already into 48 minutes. I can, if you are okay, then I can read the last part and then we'll be done. And next time we will look at all of this again. Yeah?
Yeah, let us finish
Then
this.
we'll finish this verse. Yeah.
Yes, then we reach verse 5 actually.
Pure Vairagyam is love without attachment. Here the author gives a traditional example for aversion, namely Kakavishta, the feces of a crow. This example certainly creates a sense of aversion, but I would suggest that Vairagya should not be interpreted as aversion. There is no need for aversion towards the world. The world is beautiful as it is, and Vairagya means a healthy relationship. You can call it a relationship with love. Ideally, you love everything, but without dependence. I call attachment as dependence, okay? Then you can give freedom to everything. If you have aversion, you can't give freedom. Giving freedom means becoming free from attachment or dependence and aversion. In any case, the example given here is a traditional one. But aversion toward the world is not a very healthy attitude. It is better to give freedom to the world and be comfortable with the world as it is, making no demands upon it. Pujya Swamiji used to say, no, when I give others freedom, I am free.
Nice.
This is a very famous statement of Pujya Swamiji. When I give the world freedom, I am free. Making no demands upon it. A non-demanding relationship with the world is a healthy relationship. And this non-demanding relationship, in its true sense, I think, is really possible when we really assimilate, and it's not an easy assimilation at all, that the world is mithya, iti. Then there is no demand from it, Like if we have a dream, we don't have demands from our dreams, iti, So when we realize that the nature of the world is really like that of a dream, then we don't have demands from it, iti. Without that, recognition of its mithyatvam, intimate assimilation of its mithyatvam, I think it would be very tough to be non-demanding. Any relationship is healthy when I don't demand. No aversion, no attachment, no demand, and giving freedom. This is Nirmala Vairagya. Mala means impurity. Impure Vairagya means aversion. Pure Vairagya is comfort with everything, so you don't have to run away from things. When there is aversion, there is need to avoid things. You may do that in the beginning, but a time will come when you are comfortable with everything as it is. Nirmala Vairagya is pure Vairagya, where there is total comfort with what is and you make no demands upon others. This is called giving freedom. Pujya Swamiji used to say that Vairagya is simply objectivity. An objective mind is a non-projecting mind. Attachment and aversion are both results of projection. Objectivity means seeing things as they are and not projecting anything more or less. In attachment or dependence, emotional dependence, as an aversion, we are superimposing what is not there. An objective frame of mind will enable us to see this further. The author feels that when you have Vairagya, you can have Viveka. When Viveka is listed first and Vairagya second, it means you require Viveka for Vairagya to happen. Here, Vairagya is placed first and then Viveka, meaning that you need this Vairagya born from the discernment of the nature and source of happiness, so that the Atma Anatma Viveka described in the next verse can arise. Okay? So, with this last portion, we will do a lot of thinking about next time. And in the, be sure to look at your group chat, okay? Because I will give small little, very easy practices which we can do during the day, which will help us to assimilate Vairagya better. Yeah, very, very simple practices, and it will help us to assimilate. So during the week, we can do those small practices. Every now and then, 1 to 2 minute ही होगा, एक दो question अपने आप को पूछना. Okay, with that we conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Asato ma satkamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari
Okay, Namo Narayana.
Guruma, all the best for tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. Okay, before we talk about tomorrow, let me stop the